You can build a business while, being in a hostel and being in a dormitory and not having peace and quiet to yourself. You can build a business on the plane. You can do all of these things. The question I have, and the question that sort of comes up a lot around me and in the conversations I have with fellow nomads is, should you? Do you have to? And the answer is no. Welcome to the Your Business Untethered podcast, a space for freedom seekers ready to build and scale a business that supports their wildest dreams, even while traveling the world. Hi, I'm Dina, creator of Way of the Founder and your host. I imagine this podcast as a space where aspiring and established freedom entrepreneurs come to forge a path towards purpose, financial freedom, meaningful impact, and location independence. I'll be your guide as we defy the norm, heal old conditioning, and step into the leaders we were born to be. I myself am a firstborn, a daughter of divorcee, sister, girlfriend, professional coach, nomad, and expat of a decade plus, as well as yoga aficionado and energy healer. In my previous career, however, I worked a 9-to-5 as a professional fundraiser for American orchestras. Can you believe it? However, I needed more. I needed more freedom in my life. So 5 years ago, I called quits on resume success and claimed back the reins over my own life. What started with a one-way ticket to Vietnam and a single backpack filled to the brim has since grown into Way of the Founder, where I've helped hundreds of clients defy and heal from the path they were told to follow, redefine freedom, fulfillment, and success on their own terms, and build impact-driven businesses that let them live and work from anywhere. Join me each week for deep dives into leadership, strategy, and mindset, as well as healing that fuel the untethered CEO. That's you. Whether you're building your dream with a coconut flight ticket, wine glass, or coffee in hand, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. Hello. So if you are someone who is ready to or about to go home to visit family while running their business, if you are someone who is on the road, constantly traveling, moving about different countries and growing their business, you're having some feelings and you're having some doubts about it, this episode is for you, my dear. It is for you. We will be busting some myths about traveling and growing a business and how beautiful it is to grow your business while traveling nonstop. We'll be busting that myth because it is not beautiful. And we'll also be talking about some really, really deep, powerful topics, which is how do you maintain your sanity as a business owner and as a human, as a nomad, when and if you travel home to be back in your home country with you, which you've likely left for good reason years ago, and visit your family. So the reason I'm recording this episode today is because as of recording this episode, I am 8 days out from packing my suitcase for the first time in a year, getting on a plane for the first time in a year, and visiting family back home in Germany. This will not be a vacation for me. I will be working for about 3/4 of the time that I'm going to be there. I'll be there for a whole month. I'll be going by myself without my partner, and I'm essentially visiting. I'm not traveling to, I'm leaving my mattress and my kitchen supplies and my desk. I'm leaving most of my things over here in Vietnam, where I and my partner have been living for over a year now. We'll likely be living here for another year or so, and we feel really comfortable here. We still consider ourselves to be nomads, but if I were to be very accurate with the terminology, I'm more of an expat at this point than I am a nomad, simply for the fact that we've been settled in one and the same city for over a year now, and we have no intentions of moving anytime soon. Reason being, we got really tired of figuring out travel plans and visa plans and wait a minute, how long can we stay there? And let's hope that this Airbnb is good value. And let's make sure that, with 2 different passports, we each have the visa that we need to be able to get into the country and stay there legally. And it just started to take on a life of its own that felt like a part-time job that we were both running next to full-time running our respective businesses. And at one point, I just said, listen, I think we both need some stability. Our businesses will thrive more If we have stability, our health will thrive more. If we have more stability, our relationship likely will thrive even more if we have more stability. And overall, we have this beautiful location independence. That doesn't mean that we have to be on the move every single day. That means we get to pick a country that is beautiful and generous and convenient and healthy for us, and where it's easy for us to just stay and chill out. Let's do that. So that's what we've been doing for the past year or so. And frankly, we haven't moved. Like, we haven't even visited surrounding countries. We've been doing that, or had been doing that for years prior to just sitting our booties down here in Vietnam. And so it has been the case that, very uncharacteristically of me, I have not been traveling at all. Like, I haven't even been to an airport in a year. And 8 days from now, I am going home to visit family. I'm going home to attend my sister's wedding. I'm going home to hang out with my parents. I'm going home to visit some friends in Germany, to eat a lot of food. Also, help my family out with going on vacation. They have a huge, gorgeous dog, and I get to sit the dog for a while they go on vacation where they can take their dog with them. So, I get to do a whole bunch of things. And I'm excited. I'm a little trepidatious as a human being and as a daughter and as a family member. And I'm a little trepidatious as a business owner as well. So I want to take this context as an opportunity to talk to you about what it's like to build a business while traveling nonstop, about why I believe that that's actually a myth, even as a digital nomad, and even as I work with digital nomads. And then specifically, I want to talk about how to prepare your mind and your business for success when you do travel constantly, and specifically when you go home. I think this season of the year, right? Like summer-ish. I know summer takes place at different times, but like July, August. July, August is when a lot of people around me and in my community tend to pay a visit to their family. And thoughts come up, especially when you're someone who just isn't home very often. A lot of the things that usually play out over the course of months or even years with your family now sort of get smushed into this 1 month or into this 1 week. And that tends to be very triggering. How do you sustain a healthy mindset and a healthy way of continuing to relate to and grow your business as this is happening in a sort of very condensed period of time? So let's talk about the lighter part of the topic first. Can you actually build a business while traveling nonstop? The answer is, of course, yes, you can. If you put your mind to it, absolutely, you can build a business while traveling and being in a different country every single month of the year. You can do that. You can build a business while sitting on the bed in a hostel. You can build a business while, being in a hostel and being in a dormitory and not having peace and quiet to yourself. You can build a business on the plane. You can do all of these things. The question I have, and the question that sort of comes up a lot around me and in the conversations I have with fellow nomads is, should you? Do you have to? And the answer is no, you probably shouldn't. And you most definitely do not have to. There is a real trend amongst people who leave their home country to build their business online while traveling of, you begin to travel quite quickly and then you travel fast, right? Like, ooh, next country, adventure. And then before you know it, you haven't really done a lot on your business. And depending on where you're at in your business growth, this may be fine or it may be detrimental, right? Maybe you've been building your business for years prior to beginning to travel and your business does supply you with passive income, in which case the more the merrier, like travel all the time. But maybe you're in a business growth phase. Maybe you're starting up and you're growing your business, or you're choosing to scale your business and you're growing your business. In these phases where you just need to really put your mind to strategy and to implementing the strategy, to improving the business and the service that you offer, chances are you're going to want to just sit your booty down and create a stable environment. So the first thing I want to say is as a digital nomad, you have full permission to just sit your booty down in a country that allows you to stay for longer than 3 months. Get a long-term lease. Figure out your favorite supermarket. Figure out your favorite restaurant and just spend time. And I'm talking a year at minimum in that one country so that you can create stability and an environment that is conducive to you being able to just focus on your business. Because the more you focus on your business in the beginning stages, obviously, the sooner and the more sustainably will that business begin to give back to you. Give back to you in clients that pop out of nowhere. Give back to you in launches that sort of, run themselves. Give back to you in passive income. Give back to you in structures and infrastructures of the business that retains clients on autopilot. But these are all things you have to build up, and these are things that take a shitload of time to build up. And they take less time if you can put your mind to it without having to, run the part-time job, so to say, of figuring out your visas and your flight schedules and your Airbnbs on the side as well. So I'm not saying you can't be a nomad. Like, I am a nomad at my heart. I will always travel. I will always make sure that my business needs me to travel and that my business lets me travel. Don't get me wrong, but also give yourself permission to slow mad, to become an expat instead of just being a nomad and traveling every single month out of the year. You want to create, again, a good, a conducive environment that provides you with stability. Because frankly, as I said in the beginning, you can build a business from your bed in your hostel dormitory. But should you? Do you need to? No. So, first things first, you want to make sure actually that you have the money to travel to a country, maybe a cheaper country than the one you're in right now. Maybe not, depending on where your financial situation is at. Travel to a country, and then instead of going to a hostel because you're running fresh out of money, make sure that you have the financial liquidity to get a proper studio, to get a proper apartment, one that will have your creative juices flowing, one that will eliminate distractions. Again, one that's just a good space for you to now buckle down and build your business. Building a freedom business requires stability. It requires discipline. Now, what that discipline and stability looks like in detail, of course, that's up to you. But if you're moving every single week, you're focusing on traveling. You're not focusing on growing your business. And you know what? That's okay. If you're in a season of saying, you know what, like, I'm just going to let the business be the business, and this is a season of travel and adventure for me, then lean all the way into the season of traveling and adventuring. But don't be telling yourself that as you're adventuring and traveling, you're fully focused on your business. You cannot be focused on these two things at the same time. What you want as you build your business, what you want as you build your nomad business or your freedom business or whatever you want to call it, is presence. In fact, you want presence at every single moment of your life. You want presence as you travel and not have to think about this launch that you've got coming up in the back of your mind while you're on this beautiful hike. You want presence as you're launching a product and not be thinking about the visa application that hopefully will be approved. Now, part of this is just building a muscle of being present in the moment, of course. But part of this also is eliminating distractions, eliminating problems, eliminating difficulties and problems to the best of your ability. I don't want you to be in a place as a nomad or expat or traveler or freedom entrepreneur where you have to constantly choose between adventure and business growth. Not on the daily, not on the weekly. Choose between adventure and business growth on the like bi-quarterly. Like every 6 months, check in with your business growth. Does my business allow me to travel? And yes, you heard that right. You want to focus on your business. You want to prioritize your business in the first years of growing your business. And then the phases where you exponentially grow your business, you want to create a travel schedule or an environment in general where you get to focus on your business. So no, if Instagram is telling you that you can work from the beach and grow your business from the beach in a beach chair, that's the biggest nomad lie ever told. And that's a good thing. You want to choose like part of choosing to become a freedom entrepreneur is the ability to build a business that provides you with so much joy, with so much freedom to be fully yourself and to create a business and to create content that amplifies your purpose and your business and your why and your joy, instead of building a business that purely makes you money. Like if you're building a business that you truly don't believe in, but that does make you a lot of money, chances are you're always going to be resentful. Chances are when you build a business, you're going to resent not being able to go on this hiking adventure. And chances are that you're now on this hiking adventure, but you're resenting your business because you're not building out your business and therefore you're not making money. But if you truly lean into this idea of being a freedom entrepreneur, then following your joy should take you straight into and through your business growth. As a freedom entrepreneur, you should be able to give yourself permission to choose a business model and a business focus and a business niche and strategies to grow that business that fully align with who you are. And if you have trouble doing that, go ahead and plug into my masterclass, Purpose Aligned. It's going to help you sort of bring out your why, your core essence and identity, and it's going to teach you how to integrate that into your business. So that's what I have to say about, traveling and business growth. Take it or leave it, but do let me know on Instagram or in the comments to this episode how you feel about constantly being on the move and growing a business at the same time, what you're doing to create a stable, a powerful, a creative, a conducive work environment so you can lean all the way into your mission and your vision for your business. Now, I do also want to say, do I believe that nomads can successfully grow a business? Well, of course, the core of my audience and clientele are nomads. But those who really soar and who really are successful and who have fun and joy creating success in their business, they travel very, very, very slowly. Most of them at some point just pause to travel and they begin to live in beautiful cities, countries, whatever, that give them so much of what they didn't feel they had in their home country, which is the whole reason they started traveling in the first place. But that place where they choose to settle for a medium period of time also provides them with a conducive work environment, stable economy, a good infrastructure, healthy food, a community of like-minded people. So let's talk about how to run your business when you do travel. Because any one of us who doesn't live in their home country is going to travel. We're going to travel to explore new places, but we're also going to travel to see and visit family, right? So this is the season or the phase that I have got coming up in a week from now, right? I get to go home. I get to see family. I get to hang out with friends and family I haven't seen in a year. What do I do about my business while I'm there? Because I have chosen to not make this a vacation in the sense that I won't be working on my business. I will be working on my business. But I also want to set intentions and create a space where I can actually just go and focus on my friends and family. How do I do that? First of all, let me acknowledge that typically for most of us, going home is the ultimate stress test. The ultimate stress test on our ability to keep calm, the ultimate stress test on our triggers and our ability to move through triggers, and the ultimate stress test on our business. So the one thing I always make sure whenever I go home or whenever I travel, for a month or so, is that I am laser focused on maximum 3 to 4 things in my business. Typically, in any given week, I will work on my podcast. I'll work on my content. I'll make sure that I keep improving the services I offer. Maybe I'm creating and launching an offer. I will have my hands in a bajillion different things in my business, and I love it that way. When I travel, especially when I travel home, I make sure that I reduce my focus down to the number of fingers I have on my hand. Not 2 hands, but on my 1 hand. So for me, my non-negotiables during that month that I'm home in Germany will be to grow my WhatsApp community, to build in-person connections, to launch 1 new offer, and to create 1 post a day for Instagram. So let's walk through this. So first of all, this is what's true for me. And what I want you to hear in these 4 priorities is that these are all execution things. These are things where I just execute on a strategy I have predetermined, pre-built out. So you sort of have to know yourself. For me, I know that when I travel and when my environment is just, sort of all over the place, I am not a good decision maker. I'm not a good strategist. I am a good strategist when everything around me is sort of super quiet and stable, and like I get just like pigeonhole myself into this one strategy and build it out, and then I come out on the other end, and now I can go and execute on that strategy. However, what I am good at when I travel is to just execute. But in order to execute strategically, I need to have pre-built out the strategy. So let's go through this one by one. My first non-negotiable is to continue building out my WhatsApp community. I am right now in the middle of building out the strategy as to how to do that, utilizing in-person and virtual events, specifically catering to nomads, both here in Da Nang and in Germany in the town where I'm going to be. So that strategy, I'm building it out right now before I even get on the flight home, so that when I'm there, I can just execute on that strategy. I will have made all of the decisions I need to make prior to getting to, bit of a messy month in my life. In-person events. I am right now setting up and deciding on which kinds of events I want to run while I'm in Dresden. I'm building out the events. I'm building out all of the marketing I need for it so that when I'm in Germany, I can mostly just keep inviting to the events and running the events. My new offer, I'm building out a new offer on how to start and grow an email list in order to have a real rock solid audience that you will always have access to, even if your Instagram account gets messed up. So that masterclass is something where I'm building out the launch, the messaging, the landing page, everything I need in order to then invite to and run the offer while in Germany. By the time I get to Germany, I will have my landing page ready. I will have my launch plan ready. I will have my messaging dialed in so that I'm just executing on it while there. Instagram posts, I've already made a whole bunch of decisions on my approach to my new Instagram account. Do follow me, Dina Business Coach on Instagram, so that I know exactly how to approach my content. I have to make not a single decision about how to post, the vibe, the what to post about. Like, I've already made these decisions. I just need to go and write the post, which I enjoy very much. So this is how I plan my business for when I travel. Now, that means that I will feel as though I'm not growing my business with as much velocity as I usually grow my business while in Germany. But that's just how it's going to feel, and I have to remind myself of that. What's going to be the reality is that I will not stop, not even slow down on growing my business at all, because I'll be constantly executing. And for me, strategizing feels like I'm growing my business. But, truth of the matter is executing that strategy is what actually grows my business. So I'll just be laser focused on execution while in Germany. And therefore, I will just really make sure, based on the decisions I'm making now, that I will continue to grow my business, even if my attention will be a little more scattered, because I'm going to be between the dog and my siblings and my family and my friends. I'm going to be in a new environment and I'll likely not have as quiet an office as I do here in Vietnam, but I'll just be executing. So for you, that may look exactly the same thing. Maybe you just had this huge epiphany and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, like I can execute wherever. I just can't really strategize. In that case, prep your business according to this plan next time you go home or go just, on an adventure that's going to pull you away from being fully focused on your business. But maybe you're someone who can't execute. So then plan your business so that while you're traveling, you find these beautiful pockets of time where you're strategizing. Like, focus on the thing that comes most easily to you while you're traveling. Obviously, the strategy only works if you don't travel every single month. If you do travel every single month, something that I used to do is to set something that I call destination goals. So back when I was traveling every couple of months, what I would do is because also at that point, I didn't know where I was going to be 3 months from now. Now I know where I'm going to be next year. But back then I didn't know where I was going to be 2 months from now. So what I would do is I would have my annual goals. I would have like rough markers of these are my quarterly goals. But then what I would do is, okay, great. So now I knew I was going to be in Thailand for the next 2 months. And then I would set very specific goals of what I needed to have accomplished by the end of my time in Thailand. So that's what I mean by destination goals. And that worked really, really well for me. That helped keep me on task. But of course, now I couldn't just say like, oh, while in Thailand, I'm just going to execute because now I'm only executing while traveling nonstop. That wasn't going to work. So instead, I had these like destination goals, and that really kept me on task. So know yourself, figure out how you're going to prep your business in a way so that doing business and focusing on business comes easily to you while your environment is a little messy. In other words, you have to prepare for mess. You have to prepare for not being fully in control of your time. And you also have to prepare, and this is the final part I want to talk about, but also you have to prepare your mental state of mind for this. So there's sort of two reasons why I'm telling you to focus or to prep your business in a way so that you can focus on the things that come most easily to you. One is you're simply not going to have as much time. You're simply not going to have as much peace and quiet to build on your business. Maybe you won't even have a freaking office to work on your business, right? So prep your business according to the messiness that you know you're putting yourself into. Like embrace it. Don't ignore it, embrace it. But the second reason is that typically in my experience of just being myself and working with a lot of clients, and for those who don't know, when I work with my clients on their business, we take a very holistic approach because the way you relate to one thing is the way you relate to everything. And typically, like our family and the beliefs and the conditioning that our family is instilled in our brains tends to show up in how we run our business. So I'm someone as a coach, as a business coach, who's willing to sort of go into these corners of my clients' brains in order to really make sure that they show up fully as themselves in their business. So going home as an expat, going home as a nomad tends to bring up triggers. It tends to bring up the things that are really kind of easy to run away from subconsciously, right? Like I see it for myself. I'm someone who's really trying to be super aware of the problems I'm running away from. But at the end of the day, it's much easier to set a boundary with my families when I'm halfway around the world because I can just hang up the phone. Does that sound super enlightened? No, it doesn't. Does that sound like I'm human? It. But that's not something I can do while being in the same room with my family, right? So just being home doing this really condensed period of time, in my case, a month, maybe in your case, a couple of months or a week, tends to just sort of require me to really double down on my self-awareness, to really double down on my communication skills, to really double down on my presence also. Because at the end of the day, I want this experience to be beautiful and not just triggering. So again, much like with the business, like don't ignore any problems that may come up, lean into them and then plan for them. Also from a mental and emotional load, I really want to invite you to never run away from these problems or to never ignore these problems or never to like go like, like I'm just going to go there and it's going to be what it's going to be. Like, no, you have control over how you experience going home as an expat or nomad. You have control over how you set boundaries. You have control over making agreements prior to even getting there to make sure that you will have your needs met. So for me, this looks like laying out my daily routines. Like I've mentioned before, there's going to be some period of time during this month where I'll just be dog sitting. Like I'm being very intentional about how I plan my days right now. I already know where I'm going to be grocery shopping. I already know when I'm going to walk the dog. I already know the gym I'm going to go to, how much it costs and when I'm going to go to that gym. I'm setting out my daily routines for this new environment now so that I have something to cling on to. I have my business non-negotiables, which helps me clear up some mental capacity to just be present with myself, to make sure my needs are being met, to make sure my boundaries are being held up, to make sure that I have a good time with my family, even though it might bring up some shit from the past. I am leaning on to my therapist. I'm very intentionally talking about any feelings and thoughts that come up around going home with my therapist. I'm leaning onto the support that I have built into my life. I'm doubling down on that support. So again, it's this idea of you have control over your life, right? To sort of wrap this up, right? We talked about three big things on this episode today. We talked about should you or shouldn't you travel nonstop as you're growing your business? The answer is probably not. And I've told you why. We talked about how to prep your business for when you do travel, specifically for when you do travel to home. Focus on the things that come most easily to you and then prepare your business for that. Don't be responsive. Don't say, oh, whatever gets done, gets done. That's not how entrepreneurs think. That's not how CEOs think. Prepare your business for where you're going to be mentally, emotionally, strategically. Don't ignore the fact that you are going to be in a different environment, in an environment that probably doesn't want you to work. Let's face, right? So be strategic about this. Plan ahead. And mentally and emotionally, same line of thinking here, right? Think ahead. What will you need? How will you get your needs met? What are the agreements and the boundaries that you need to set ahead of even getting home, right? Maybe you're a little afraid. Maybe you're super excited. One way or another, you want to make sure that whatever the environment, the conducive environment you've built for yourself while traveling or while being an expat in a different country is an environment that you get to control. You're not feeling great. You're not feeling happy. You're not feeling more healthy because suddenly you're in a different country. You're feeling great. You're feeling better. You're feeling healthier. You're feeling more like yourself because you have created this environment for yourself in a different country. Remember remember how much you control you have over yourself, over your health, over how you relate to the world around you. You've created this beautiful environment that uplifts you once. You can create it anywhere. You can create it even while you're at home. So I hope this was helpful to someone out there. If you are this someone, as always, please reach out to me on Instagram or just drop a comment underneath this episode and let me know how this resonates with you. Let me know how you relate to business. I'm so curious how people out there are thinking about your business. What is it that comes most easily to you in your business? And then sit with this question: how can I always create, no matter where I am, whether I'm in my dream country or at home visiting family, how can I always create the environment that is most conducive to my mental, financial, business, and emotional health? As always, go out and create more freedom today than you did yesterday, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the podcast, Your Business Untethered, hosted by me, Dinat, creator of Way of the Founder. I love hearing from you, so please drop me a DM on Instagram sharing your insights from this episode. And if you are ready to take the leap, my free guides, Plot Your 9-to-5 Escape in 7 days, and the Freedom Business Scorecard are in the show notes for you to grab. If this episode created change for you, please leave a review and be a friend and share this with a friend or colleague that you love. Until next time, please wake every day, seize the day, defy the norm, and create your very own type of freedom. I love you. I do mean it.